The great thing about this arc is you decide I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and then you have this other success on Broadway, but then you come to the Late Late Show. There are a lot of successful segments, but the Carpool Karaoke just blows up, and I rarely see other people do things. I like to the things that I do in comedy are things that just appeal to me. And it's not often that I see someone else do something where I think, oh man, I wish that had been me. But when you spent the day, and because I ran into you once and asked you about it, I'm such a Beatles fanatic. And when you spent the day with McCartney, I was just like, damn it, why couldn't I have just been in the back seat listening? Like, why couldn't I have been there? Because that was just a dream come true for me.
It was extraordinary.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're like this, but I'm rarely aware of what a great time I'm having. It's only retrospectively I look back and go, oh yeah, that was fun. At the time, I don't, I was
you're just in it. You're in it and you're doing it, yeah.
But doing that day was I just knew that we were doing something that was incredibly special. I think I knew before I even watched the edit that it was like, okay, well, this is the pinnacle of this bit, and it's all going to be. It's really up to us how slowly we can glide away from it. We won't hit a peak like this again.
It's not just that you're in a car with Paul McCartney and you're singing Beatles songs, but you're driving through Liverpool.
Yeah,
because that's going to fire neurons in McCartney, and it clearly did. That. Yes, he's giving interviews all the time to everybody, and he's sometimes probably saying things he said before. But if you're driving him around Liverpool, neurons are gonna fire, and he's gonna say things that maybe he hasn't said before. And that's the impression I got of that time you guys had together.
Completely. Well, I think what I realized that day is actually true for anybody who's left their hometown. Anybody who leaves their hometown, when you go back. Like, I can't remember what I did last week. If you said to me, what did you do last Tuesday? It would really take me a long time to be like, what day was Tuesday? I can remember the journey from my house to Richard Shedd's house, to Greg's house, to Andy's house, to school, to the back of like that. Yeah. And so when you go home, you're so acutely aware of the road you've traveled from it. You can see it. So being there with Paul, who, he was kind of reticent to do it.
You did mention this to me. You said that you'd been, obviously, he's the obvious person to go to do Carpool Karaoke, and that looked like it was going to happen, but then
he was out, and then he was back in, and then he was out again, and then even on the day.
What do you think the reticence was about?
I just think at that point, that segment, you could so clearly view it in numbers. And I think he felt like, but I think when you're in like if Justin Bieber was in the car last week and One Direction in the car next week, do you look like you're Paul McCartney, or I think he was aware of trying not to look like he was trying to grab onto something that was perhaps quite young and youthful. And I was saying to him, look, Paul, we've never done anything like this where we've traveled somewhere. We have a stunt at the end. We're going to go into your house. We are giving this everything. We're going to switch places and drive my car. We will not let this fail. We will not, even if one of these bits doesn't work, there's going to be 3 other bits in the segment that will. And even on the day, he said to me, we're in this hotel, again, like hair and makeup, and this is where we're going to leave from, and microphones and all these things. And he said to me, he said, James, can I speak to you for a minute? And I said, sure. And we go into this walk-in closet, and he shuts the door, and I say, you okay? And he goes, I don't want to go in my house.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't want to go in. I've never been in. Whenever I bring people to Liverpool, we just drive up outside and I show them the house and I drive on. He said, I feel a bit weird about it because it's now a National Trust house.
Yes,
so
yeah.
It's all been it all looks the same. And he said, I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I was thinking, okay, this is quite a big bit that we were going to do. But I just went to him. I said, Paul, there is the only point of today is that you and I have a great time. And if we're having a great time, this is going to be great. You shouldn't be worried about anything. But I wouldn't dismiss anything now either. You don't know how we're going to feel. We'll have been in the car for 45 minutes at that point. So why don't we do this? We'll pull up outside. And if you give me a look that says you don't want to go in, we'll just drive on and I'll take the hit for it, right? I'll say it was me, it was my fault, but you shouldn't overthink it in any way. So we're doing it, it's all going great. We're having a great time. We're singing the songs and we pull up outside. And then I was thinking, oh shit, I should have said code word. Because what if he's giving me a look and I
you don't know what
know
the look
is? We never really worked out what it was.
Because he does wink a lot in conversations.
Exactly.
Which means,
what if he has gas?
Yeah. So I'm going, and it's in the finished clip where I go, do you want to go inside? And he goes, yeah, let's go in. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we,
But let's go in was the signal, meaning let's not
leave.
go in.
Let's leave.
You fucked it up! But he's never forgotten it.
That day, I've never seen people, you know how now, like, now the selfie is the thing, everyone wants a photo. I have never seen people not be wanting anything from someone who's famous. They just want to thank him. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. Like going up Penny Lane and going in the barbershop and all those things. You know when people go, oh my God, it stopped traffic. But it didn't. Not really. Traffic standstill. Yeah. People just, every car around this roundabout, just no one moving. Yeah. Just there's Paul McCartney on Penny Lane. And then going into that house and all these things. I've just never, ever been so aware of like what an absolute privilege a day is to spend a day like this. I'll never ever forget it.